Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In China, people often hear an old saying in daily life, a dog bites Lu Dongbin, failing to recognize a good person's heart. The Lu Dongbin mentioned in this saying is none other than the famous immortal from the well-known Chinese folk tale The Eight Immortals Crossing the Sea. It is said that Lu Dongbin possessed extraordinary abilities. Not only was he a master swordsman, but he was also skilled in medicine, capable of diagnosing illnesses and saving lives. In everyday life, he was known for upholding justice and helping the poor and weak. Sometimes, he would wander the world freely, setting off on a whim. Other times, he would mysteriously disappear without a trace. One moment he'd appear among commoners, and the next, he'd be seen in the households of the wealthy. From the Five Dynasties period to the early Song dynasty, stories about Lu Dongbin began spreading widely among the people, becoming more and more legendary over time. However, when all is said and done, Lu Dongbin wasn't a completely fictional immortal. Historically, he was indeed a real person. Not only was he a master of swordsmanship and medicine, he was also highly skilled in writing poetry and essays. Even today, over 200 of his poems can still be found in the complete Tang poems, each one filled with literary brilliance. Lu Dongbin was a half-man, half-immortal figure. But where did he come from, and why did he descend to the mortal world? These mysteries have always intrigued and puzzled later generations. Due to the passage of time, ordinary people have been unable to piece together the details. That is, until one day, in Shanxi province, an archaeological team unexpectedly unearthed a tomb believed to be that of Lu Dongbin. The moment the coffin was opened, all the experts were stunned, their mouths agape, speechless with shock, feeling it was all simply too incredible to believe. In 1959, during China's era of large-scale development, the entire nation was full of momentum, building water projects, power stations, pushing everything forward rapidly. At the time, the country was constructing the Shanxi reservoir on the Yellow River. Coincidentally, a famous Taoist architectural complex from the Yuan dynasty, Yongle Palace, was located precisely in the area that was about to be submerged. Yongle Palace, also known as Chunyang Palace, is said to have been established by the immortal Lu Dongbin. It was first expanded in the early Yuan dynasty, specifically in the year 1252. From a much older temple, the Shrine of Master Lu, which had already existed for 100 or 200 years. The palace was built to commemorate the legendary figure Lu Dongbin. The entire temple complex was vast in scale and is one of the three most complete surviving Taoist temple complexes in China. The murals inside the palace are considered artistic treasures, their value beyond monetary measure. To protect this precious cultural heritage, the state assembled a large team of experts. After months of repeated study, they finally decided to relocate the entire Yongle Palace using a 1:1 replication method, to ensure the new site preserved the original as much as possible. The selection criteria were extremely strict. Not only did it need to be close to the original location, but the climate had to be similar, and even the orientation of the buildings had to be exactly the same. Only then could the murals be properly preserved. Eventually, a site was chosen 2.5 kilometers away, next to Wulong Temple in Belongquan Village, Ruicheng County, as the new home. The state mobilized a large group of painters, students and teachers from art academies. They began by copying, photographing, and measuring every detail of the murals. Then craftsmen carefully removed the murals from the walls, transported them to the new site, and reinstalled them. This was an extremely massive and complex project, where every single step had to be handled with the utmost care. Once the murals had been successfully relocated, the original Yongle Palace was gradually dismantled. Even the bricks, tiles, flowers, and trees, anything that could be moved, were transported to the new site without missing a single piece. during the gradual expansion of the demolition process. The workers accidentally discovered an ancient tomb about 200 meters east of Yongle Palace's main gate. The tomb faces south with its back to the north and covers an area of about 6 mu, approximately 1 acre. From a distance, it doesn't look like a tomb at all. The surrounding area is overgrown with weeds. Even the top of the tomb has collapsed, completely lacking the typical raised shape of traditional graves. It was identified as a tomb only because a stone stele was spotted among the grass. After clearing away the weeds and cleaning the surface, a striking inscription appeared, Tomb of the Ancestor Lu Gong of Pure Yang from the Great Tang. This was a stone stele carved during the Yuan dynasty. Could this really be the legendary final resting place of Lu Dongbin? Lu Dongbin, the main figure in the tale The Eight Immortals Crossing the Sea, has long been regarded as a divine immortal. The stele indeed stated, Tomb of Ancestor Lu Gong. According to historical records, Lu Dongbin's real name was Lu Yen. His Taoist name was Pure Yangzi, and he was later revered as Lu Zhu, Ancestor Lu. There has never been a definitive answer in history as to exactly where he was born or died. If the authenticity of this find could be confirmed, it would solve a mystery that has puzzled people for hundreds of years, and prove that he truly walked among us. The team on site immediately recognized the significance of the discovery, and promptly reported it to higher authorities. Soon after, a national team of archaeological experts arrived at the site, all of them visibly excited. After all, the long-lost tomb of Lu Zhu had now been found by accident during a construction project. After careful investigation, the experts confirmed that the tomb was a single-chamber earthen pit grave, buried beneath the flood zone. The roof had collapsed long ago, leaving the interior filled with water and silt. The cleaning process was extremely tedious, requiring archaeologists to dig carefully, shovel by shovel, quickly, but without damaging the site's structure. The team eventually cleared a rectangular tomb passage measuring 3.16 meters in length, 1.43 meters in width, and 5.6 meters in depth, leading directly to the burial chamber. As the mud inside the chamber was gradually removed, its structure was slowly revealed. The burial chamber had a trapezoidal floor plan, measuring 3.16 meters from south to north. The northern end was 1.8 meters wide, the southern end slightly narrower at 1.48 meters, and the walls were 1.4 meters high. The tomb was not very large, but considering Lu Dongbin's reputed love of wandering among the clouds and his detachment from fame and fortune, such a simple design seemed quite fitting. Due to the tight space inside, archaeologists had to crouch and move slowly, making progress painstakingly slow. At the northern end of the chamber lay a severely decayed wooden coffin. Experts initially judged it to be made of pine, with planks about 10 centimeters thick. The coffin was 2.15 meters long, 1.38 meters wide at the head, and slightly narrower at the foot, measuring 0.96 meters. Carefully opening the lid, the team found 2 skeletons inside, a couple buried together. The male lay on the left, the female on the right, both lying face up, though the remains had suffered heavy erosion over the centuries. The skeletons were relatively well preserved in terms of alignment, given Lu Dongbin's legendary status. Many expected the tomb to contain lavish burial items. However, the actual artifacts were far more modest than imagined. Next to the male's right leg, a 3-colored glazed ceramic pillow was discovered, featuring yellow, green, and purple hues. The pillow was rectangular, slightly narrower in the middle and wider at the ends, measuring about 18.5 centimeters in length and 10.5 centimeters in width. To the west of the woman's head, a small gray pottery jar was found, with a smooth, rounded body, a narrow mouth, and no decorative patterns, utterly plain. Additionally, 7 copper coins were unearthed inside the coffin, including 4 Kaiyuan Tongbao, 2 Xiangfu Tongbao, and 1 Tiansheng Yuanbao. Simple burial coins wouldn't usually draw much attention. But on closer examination, the experts were stunned. These coins spanned several different dynasties. After repeated verification, everyone found it hard to believe. This led the archaeology team to question: was this really the tomb of Lu Dongbin? If it was, how could the presence of coins from multiple dynasties be explained? Was it due to reverence from later generations, or was there another story behind it? According to historical records, Kaiyuan Tongbao coins were first minted in the 4th year of Emperor Gaozu's Wuda reign in the Tang dynasty, and remained in circulation until the dynasty's end. Meanwhile, Xiangfu Tongbao coins were produced during Emperor Zhenzong's reign in the Song dynasty, and Tiansheng Yuanbao came from Emperor Renzong's Tiansheng era, also in the Song dynasty. Both of the latter coin types only existed in the Song period. According to the Yuan dynasty inscription on the stele of the Pure Yang Longevity Palace, Lu Zu's real name was Lu Yan, courtesy name Dongbin, and Taoist name Chenyangzi, Master Pure Yang. His family was from Zheoxianli, about 1 li, approximately 500 meters, northeast of Yongle town. He was born on the 14th day of the 4th lunar month in the 12th year of Emperor Dizong's Shenyuan reign, 796 AD, during the Tang dynasty. Similar claims can be found in the local chronicles of Yongji County, which state that Lu Dongbin's ancestral home was in that region. Historical records also mention, Yongle town is located 120 li south of the county seat. During the Tang dynasty, a Lugong temple was built there. And in the 3rd year of the Yuan dynasty's Zhongtong reign, it was renamed Yongle Palace. This suggests that people at the time indeed regarded him as a local figure and even established a temple to worship him. Based on these records and the oral traditions of the local people, Lu Dongbin is believed to have been a Tang dynasty figure, with his ancestral hall and burial site located in his hometown of Yongle town. Although folk legends mention that Lu Dongbin was once married, he later cultivated the way and became an immortal. According to Taoist custom, someone who attained immortality should not be buried alongside a spouse. What draws even more attention is that next to and inside the mouth of the female remains in the tomb. Several Northern Song dynasty copper coins were found, including Xiangfu Tongbao and Tiansheng Yuanbao. The coin found in the mouth, in particular, Tiansheng Yuanbao, indicates that her burial must have occurred after the Tiansheng era of the Song dynasty. This presents a contradiction. If Lu Dongbin was a man from the Tang dynasty, how could he be buried with a woman who died during the Song dynasty? After all, nearly 2 centuries passed between the 12th year of Emperor Dizong's Shenyuan reign and the Tiansheng era of Emperor Renzong of Song. Some speculate this could be a case of secondary burial, where descendants reburied the two together later. However, given the neatly arranged bones in the tomb, experts believe it does not appear to be a case of later reinterment. Others suggested the copper coins might have been added by later generations. But after a thorough investigation by professional restoration personnel, the soil composition, the degree of coffin decay, and the positioning of the coffin all indicate that the coins were placed at the time of the original burial, not added afterward. Based on on-site observations, and the fact that the woman's bones were more corroded than the man's, some experts speculate that the couple was not buried at the same time. It is quite likely that the woman died earlier and that her remains were later interred with the man. The coins found in the tomb include Kaiyuan Tongbao, Xiangfu Tongbao, and Tiansheng Yuanbao. This leads to the speculation that the male died during the Tiansheng period of the Northern Song dynasty, which is around the year 1024 AD. In other words, this may suggest that Lu Dongbin's death occurred not during the Tang dynasty, but rather in the early Northern Song dynasty. If that is true, then was Lu Dongbin really a Tang dynasty figure or a Song dynasty one? And how should the historical records identifying him as a person of the Tang era be explained? Could it be that Lu Dongbin actually lived for nearly 200 years? Logically, that would be extremely rare. However, historical records do contain many tales of extraordinary longevity. For example, in a new account of the tales of the world, Shishuasanyu, there is a Xian Bei maid who reportedly lived for 350 years. In the county gazetteer of Yongtai, an elder named Chen Jun was said to have lived for 443 years. The Song dynasty's Shaoshi Wenjianla recorded a veteran soldier who lived to 170. Though these accounts are likely exaggerated, they do suggest that human lifespans could, at least in legend, exceed the conventional century mark. Lu Dongbin was said to be highly skilled in qigong and alchemical practices, which could theoretically have contributed to a longer life. Additionally, in Taoism, he holds a revered status, not only for his alchemical accomplishments but also for his compassionate acts, earning him the title of immortal by later generations. As for whether this newly discovered tomb is truly Lu Dongbin's final resting place, that mystery will likely require further archaeological and scientific research before it can be definitively solved. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.